Something big is happening with XRP right now. If you own some XRP or you're just following the crypto scene, you gotta listen close. Fresh news on the Clarity Act popped up just minutes ago. These changes could really decide where XRP goes next, not only in the United States but everywhere else too. This isn't some ordinary rule story. It feels like a real turning point that could change how everyone looks at XRP, how people buy and sell it, and how it fits into the regular money world. The Clarity Act has been in talks for a while now. It's all about setting up straight rules for digital coins and tokens. For years, the biggest headache for XRP was that everything felt foggy. Nobody was sure how to label it, how to follow the rules, or what the people in charge really thought about what it does. That fog stopped big banks and companies from jumping in, slowed down new ideas, and left regular investors feeling nervous. But these new details make it look like that fog might finally start clearing up. The timing couldn't be better. The whole crypto world is in a touchy spot right now with governments, banks, and regulators from all over paying more attention. XRP always gets talked about the most because of its court battles and how it's built different from the rest. The Clarity Act could be the exact piece that was missing to pull everything together and give a clear road ahead for XRP and every other digital asset out there. Early word on these updates shows they might sort digital assets by what they actually do, instead of throwing them all under one giant rule. If that's the direction it keeps going, XRP could win huge. XRP was always built to be useful for sending money across countries fast and keeping cash flowing smooth, not just something people buy hoping the price shoots up like a regular investment. Rules that notice that difference could totally shift how XRP gets treated, and more important, how the big money players see it. Picture what could happen if the rules clearly say XRP is a useful tool. Big banks, payment companies, and tech finance firms that used to hold back might start looking at it for real. More paths for moving money could open up, partnerships could speed up, and the whole story around XRP could flip from risky and unclear to this is a real chance to grow. Still, we have to keep it real. These updates look good, but they aren't locked in yet. Laws take time, with lots of talking, arguing, and tweaking along the way. What matters most right now is the way the conversation is heading, and it looks like it's moving toward clear rules, solid structure, and treating different assets differently. That's exactly the three things XRP holders have been hoping for. You also got to watch how the market reacts in the next little while. News like this usually stirs up quick ups and downs. Prices might jump or drop fast, trading could spike, and social media will be buzzing. But past all that short noise, the real thing to focus on is the long haul. Clear rules aren't only about the price, they make it feel official. They build a world where XRP can run without that constant court worry hanging over it. And remember how feelings play into it. Markets run as much on what people think as on the facts. A better tone from the regulators can spread out and change how investors feel, how the news talks about it, and how big players act. That's exactly how big story shifts happen. In crypto, those story shifts can be super strong, so keep your eyes on the full picture. These Clarity Act updates we're seeing could be the first hints of a much bigger change coming. XRP has always had strong basics, real, everyday uses, and a solid plan. The one thing it never had was rules that actually helped it move forward. If that piece finally clicks into place, the results could be huge. Let's go deeper into what these Clarity Act updates could actually mean for XRP's price path, how big companies act, and the whole market setup. Headlines get people excited, but the real moves come from where the smart money flows. Right now, things are quietly lining up in ways a lot of everyday investors might not see yet. When clear rules start showing up, the smart money first looks to cut risk. XRP carried a special kind of rule worry for years that most other big coins didn't have the same way. That worry acted like a lid that kept big players from putting serious cash in, no matter how useful or how good the tech was. But if the Clarity Act moves forward and clearly calls XRP a useful tool instead of something else, that lid could disappear completely. When a limit like that lifts, money doesn't creep in slow. It comes in smart and often faster than people expect. Big companies don't sit around waiting for everything to be perfect. They get themselves ready early, usually before most folks even catch on. Regular people react to the headlines while the big players study the exact wording, the legal details, and plan for the long game. XRP's main job is moving money across borders and helping with cash flow. Those are real everyday money tasks that banks and payment services handle all the time. The only thing that held back huge use wasn't the tech, it was the unclear rules. So if the Clarity Act opens a cleaner path, we could move from just testing ideas to actually putting them to work. That's when price action starts to change. XRP has shown it can jump hard when the story, big interest, and market feelings all line up together. When clear rules, company interest, and the mood all point the same way, the price can follow suddenly and strong, surprising most people. It's not slow and gentle, it's fast and sharp. Liquidity is another big piece. XRP is built to work as a bridge that moves value between different places, so its worth is tied to how well it handles that job. If clear rules open more money paths, more trading spots, and more ways for big players to get involved, the need for XRP as a working tool could grow a lot. And demand that comes from real use usually sticks around longer than demand that's just about betting. A lot of people miss this part. The market setup doesn't flip overnight, but how people see it can change in a flash. If top finance companies start showing even quiet trust in XRP, that alone can start a whole new wave of looking at it differently. Analysts update their numbers, funds rethink where they put money, and suddenly XRP stops looking like a risky outsider and starts looking like a smart pick with a clear role. We still have to talk about the wild swings, though. News can push prices up or down hard and fast. That's when getting too emotional is dangerous. Chasing quick green days or selling in a panic during dips usually ends badly. The smart move is understanding the bigger shift underneath instead of just reacting to the short moves. There's also the wider world money picture. Governments everywhere are paying more attention to digital rules. The Clarity Act isn't happening by itself. It's part of a bigger worldwide push to figure out how crypto fits into regular finance. If the United States goes with a clear and friendly approach, it could nudge other countries to do something similar. For an asset like XRP that's built to work across the whole planet, that kind of matching could be really powerful. Timing matters a lot here too. Markets often move on what they think is coming before it's official. So if people start believing clear rules are on the way, the price might shift even before anything is final. That creates a window where getting in early can pay off, but it's also risky if things don't turn out exactly as hoped. What we're seeing right now isn't just news, it's the beginning of maybe re-rating XRP completely. It could move from an asset stuck in rule uncertainty to an officially okay useful money tool. And if that shift keeps building, the effect could reach way past price and actually change how XRP gets woven into the global money system. Let's look at what's going on behind the scenes because that's where the real story is forming. Regular investors watch headlines and quick price moves, but big companies play a different game built on long plans, rule matching, and making sure their systems are ready. Right now, all three of those things are starting to come together for XRP in a way we haven't seen before. The Clarity Act updates aren't only about writing rules, they're building a base that big companies can actually stand on and grow from. Huge finance groups don't move on hype. They move when the law is solid, operations run smooth, and there's a clear way to plug in. For XRP, this is huge because its whole point has always been tied to real money jobs instead of just trading for fun. Big companies don't jump into new tech at the height of excitement. They learn everything, run tests, build partnerships, and set up quietly before they make any big moves. So what we're seeing now might just be the part that shows on the surface while a much bigger process has been cooking for a while. If the rules get clear, it doesn't start the story. It just unlocks everything that was already getting ready. Look at how XRP is built. It's fast, it can handle big volume, and it's made exactly for moving value across borders without wasting time or money. Those are real advantages. In a world where trillions of dollars cross countries every single day, even a small improvement in speed and cost can add up to huge savings. That's why finance companies have always been interested in blockchain ideas, but interest alone isn't enough. They need to know it follows the rules. That's where the Clarity Act becomes a total game changer. If companies can use XRP without worrying about rule trouble, we could see tests turn into full rollout. Money paths that used to be small could grow a lot. Sending cash across borders that took days could happen in seconds. Most important, XRP's role could grow from a special fix for a few people to a main part of how finance actually works. There's another side people often miss: competition. The crypto space is packed with projects all trying to be the future of money, but very few have the mix of real usefulness, already made partnerships, and this possible good rule fit that XRP is now getting close to. If the Clarity Act does a good job telling different kinds of digital assets apart, it could put XRP in its own special group, the exact kind that big companies are looking to work with. Companies don't just look at what an asset is today. They look at what it could become once rules are set. If XRP is seen as a rule-following bridge with real uses, it could slide right into many parts of finance, from banking to sending money home to handling cash flow. And once something gets built into the actual money system, the demand for it changes completely. At the same time, think about how smart money quietly builds positions. Big market shifts usually start with the pros buying up quietly. It doesn't always show in the price right away, especially when regular investors are driving the mood. But over time, those positions build pressure that leads to breakouts when the right spark hits. The Clarity Act updates could be that spark, but probably not the way most people picture. It's not one big announcement causing a giant rally. It's a steady change in how people see it that brings lasting interest, more real use, and a stronger market setup. That kind of move feels steadier, smarter, and ends up mattering more. The way money stories change is important too. For a long time, XRP got tied to fights and rule worries. That story hid how good its tech is and how useful it really is in the real world. But stories don't last forever. They change when new facts take over. If clear rules become the main story, it could completely change how the whole market sees XRP. When stories flip, new chances show up. People who spot the change early usually come out ahead, not because they move the fastest, but because they saw the whole view before it was obvious to everyone else. That's why moments like this matter so much. They give you a look at where the market might be heading, not just where it is today. Big company use doesn't happen with the flip of a switch. It's a step-by-step process shaped by rules, ready systems, and trust. The Clarity Act updates tie right into all three, which is why this news carries so much weight. Let's step way back and look at the worldwide effects, because this isn't just a United States thing. It could shape digital rules all over the planet. And for an asset like XRP that's built from the ground up for crossing borders, getting the whole world on the same page isn't just nice, it's everything. Money systems today are all connected. Cash moves across countries nonstop, and any tech that wants to make that better has to work inside many different rule sets at the same time. XRP always had that built-in advantage. Its main purpose isn't locked to one country. It's made to help move value between nations. But wanting to work globally also made the rule picture more complicated because every country does things its own way. If the Clarity Act in the United States sets up clear and friendly rules, it could send a signal to the rest of the world. In the past, when a major money power makes solid rules, other countries notice. They might not copy it exactly, but they often line up where it makes sense. That creates a wave where clarity in one place encourages clarity in others. For XRP, that kind of worldwide matching could open doors way bigger than most investors are thinking about right now. Imagine lots of countries starting to treat XRP as a rule-okayed, useful tool. All the old walls that held it back could start falling. Finance companies working in different countries could team up easier. Money could flow more freely, and the speed and cost savings XRP offers could happen on a much larger scale. That's how an asset goes from just being in the market to actually becoming part of the money system itself. Emerging markets are another big piece. In many places, the old ways of moving money are slower, more expensive, and harder to reach. Cross-border payments there usually come with high fees and long waits. That makes people hungry for better options that cut costs and speed things up. XRP fits perfectly into that need, and clearer rules could make its use take off fast in those areas. Countries are also competing hard to lead in crypto. They aren't just making rules, they're racing to pull in new blockchain ideas, money tech, and big investments. Clear rules can be a real advantage that brings companies and cash into that country. If the Clarity Act makes the United States look more open to crypto, it could kick off a wave of activity that spreads beyond XRP but helps the assets that are ready for big use. Interoperability is another smart angle. The future of money isn't about one system kicking out the old one. It's about all the different systems working together. XRP is designed to connect different currencies, payment networks, and finance companies. But for that connecting to work at full scale, there has to be trust, and rules build that trust. When multiple countries back similar setups, it becomes way easier for everything to link up and run smooth. There's even a bigger political side. Money systems have always been tools of power, and digital assets are joining that game. Countries that pick up fast, scalable, rule-following blockchain solutions could get an edge in global finance. XRP, with its focus on easy cash flow and border crossing, could play a real part in that changing world. If rules support it, that part could grow in ways that are hard to guess fully right now. We still have to keep hope balanced with real talk. Worldwide use doesn't move in a straight line. Different countries move at different speeds, and their rules can be all over the place. Some places might welcome XRP quickly while others stay careful. What matters is the overall direction things are heading. Right now, it looks like it's going toward more clarity, more mixing in, and more acceptance of digital tools that have real jobs. World stories also affect how the market behaves. When investors see many places moving toward the same kind of rules, it builds extra confidence. It cuts down uncertainty and makes the market feel like it's growing up for XRP after years of extra rule watching. That kind of shift could hit hard. It changes the question from, is XRP allowed, to how will XRP be used? That flip is powerful because it moves everything from worry to chance. It sparks new ideas, pulls in more money, and opens doors for uses that weren't possible before. Whole systems grow through all these pieces moving together. not through single events. Putting it all together, these Clarity Act updates, the shift in how big companies feel, and the chance for worldwide matching aren't separate pieces. They're parts of one big transformation that might already be moving under the surface. What we're seeing could be the early steps of a full redefinition. For years, XRP lived in a space full of uncertainty, bets, and split opinions. Some people saw it as a strong, useful asset with real-world jobs, while others only saw the rule risks. Moments like this, when rule setups start forming, can fix that split. They create a base where what people think and what's actually true start lining up. If the Clarity Act keeps heading towards sorting useful assets away from regular investment ones, XRP could land in a really good spot. Not just another crypto, but a bridge between old-school finance and the new digital world. That spot matters because the future of money isn't about throwing out the old system overnight. It's about mixing new tech into what already exists so everything works better, costs less, and lets more people join in. The biggest mistake people make right now is only watching the price. Price is important, but it's the result, not the cause. The real drivers are more real use, solid rules, and growing trust. When those three line up, price usually follows, often in ways that are hard to guess day to day, but clear over the long run. This is also when you need discipline. Markets go in cycles, and even the strongest stories have drops, fixes, and quiet times. Getting scared on the dips or too excited on the rallies can lead to bad choices. The key is staying informed, thinking smart, and knowing exactly why you're making each move instead of just reacting to the noise. Timing is huge too. Markets often move ahead of the final news. That gives both chance and risk. Being early can pay off, but it needs patience and a clear view of the whole picture. Not every headline brings instant results, and not every hope lands exactly as planned. That's why keeping expectations in check matters as much as spotting the opportunities. Long-term positioning is another thing to think about. If XRP really gets clearer rules and bigger company use, its growth might come more from steady demand based on real everyday jobs than from sudden spikes. That kind of growth tends to be steadier, tougher through tough times, and better matched with bigger money trends. It's the difference between pure betting and actual adoption, and that difference decides where things go over the long haul. Risks are still there, and we have to stay honest about them. Rule processes can shift direction. Market conditions can change. Bigger things like the world economy, government policies, and new tech can all affect how it plays out. No single update, no matter how big it looks, guarantees anything. That's why keeping a balanced view is so important. Information in this space changes fast. What feels true today might get updated tomorrow as more details come out. Staying on top of things, checking your sources, and keeping a sharp mind will always give you an edge over people who just chase hype or guesses. Stick to the basics. Watch how the rules develop. Pay attention to what big companies do. Notice how markets around the world react. Those are the signals that really count, not the daily price noise. This is all just for information and learning. It's not financial advice. Crypto markets are super wild and carry big risks. Always do your own research, think hard about your own money situation, and talk to a real qualified advisor before you make any investing moves. Never put in money you can't afford to lose. 26,886 Sims is fast.